Well, hello, this is John Byrne with Poets&Quants. We are one-on-one with a graduate of the Rutgers Business School who's had a sensational career at one of the world's best companies, Johnson & Johnson. Let me introduce to you Georges Richa, who is now actually a finance manager at J&J. He joined as an analyst many years ago after graduating from Rutgers in 2014. And we want to talk to him about his career, but also about his experience as an undergraduate business student at Rutgers. So tell me, George, what made you decide that you wanted to actually study business in the first place? Because that's a big issue in and of itself. I mean, a lot of high school juniors and seniors have no idea what they want to do.
That's a really good question, John. And I think it's interesting too, because I believe high school curriculum, there's not a major focus on business courses or business classes. The reason why I chose business in the first place is its breadth, its applicability in any function. I think having that foundational knowledge of business skills, not only just finance or accounting, but marketing and business management, it's critical to apply those skills in kind of any aspect of any job. So whether you're pursuing a career in business or pursuing a career in health management or pursuing a career in nursing or a teacher, I think that you develop some critical competencies going through business curriculum that will help you in many ways.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, a lot of people think of business, okay, it's accounting, finance, marketing, strategy, operations, blah, blah, blah. But actually, it's about personal development. It's about how to persuasively present your views to others. It's about how to collaboratively work with others in an effective way. It's about how to network and use the power of networking to advance your knowledge, your career, your insights. So it's a lot more than what a lot of people assume that it is. Now, what led you to Rutgers? Are you a Jersey boy?
I'm a Jersey boy. I'm actually a New Brunswick boy. I'm as close to Rutgers University as you could get. Exactly. And it's funny, you just mentioned a lot of reasons why I want to go to Rutgers in the first place. So when I think of like the business school program, I think that was a second choice. I wanted to make sure I chose the university or school that I was going to first. So thinking of Rutgers University as a whole, it was no question my top choice just because of the diversity of the students and the perspectives that they're bringing to the classrooms every single day, the value of the education that you are receiving, and ultimately the network of the alumni. Being a New Jersey resident, I was able to see firsthand the benefit and the impact Rutgers graduates had in local communities and jobs, seeing how far they were taking their careers. And that was very promising and exciting to me. Then choosing business and choosing Rutgers Business School specifically, I wanted to be part of a program that was going to be competitive, that's going to be really stretching me, developing those core competencies for me, it was finance, but also all aspects of business. And I was very grateful to be part of such a program to kind of build those skill sets. One thing I think that many high school students don't really think of, just because it's a wild thing to expect 18-year-olds going into college to even think about, is the career pipeline. And I think that is a major reason why I ultimately chose Rutgers as well, because I believe the career pipeline that Rutgers Business School develops for their students is incredible. And when you think of business schools, a lot of them are very regionally focused, and the jobs that you can get are very regional. Don't get me wrong, I think Rutgers New Brunswick has an amazing presence in the tri-state area, but going through the program, I was actually able to see how global it really was. I had classmates going and getting jobs in other states, on the West Coast, in other countries, which really solidified that promise. Okay, Rutgers University really has that global outreach. And the business school kind of really paved the way for my career. And I think that's something students should really think about when they're considering colleges and considering business schools, which business schools are going to help you with your career trajectory and career pathway.
I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, we mentioned some of the other advantages of a business education. really, a lot of parents see the biggest benefit is my kid's going to get a job after paying
Exactly.
Okay. The dirty little secret of every business school is that they take the end of your school career seriously, meaning they devote resources to career management specific to a business school. They bring recruiters on campus. They bring you to job fairs. They teach you how to interview. They teach you how to build a resume, build a LinkedIn presence, doing all the kinds of things that if you're a geography major or a philosophy major or even a computer science major, you will know nothing about.
Absolutely.
So you are job ready.
Exactly.
So what was it like? What was the experience like? How hard was it? What did you most enjoy about it? What did you dread?
Oh, it's a tough question. I loved my college years. Don't get me wrong. I loved going to Rutgers University. And it's funny, I actually went to an independent school in New Jersey where my graduating class was around 83 students. And I had an amazing, amazing time there. I was terrified transitioning to a state university where I'd be in class sizes much larger. My graduating class was astronomical compared to my high school graduating class. But I think the way the program, the curriculum is structured, it sets you up for success because it allows you and it provides you the incremental resources that Rutgers has to offer in a very specialized path, and which is the business school path. You're able to start taking courses, some foundational courses earlier on in your freshman and sophomore years. But then when you take into when you progress in college and go in your third, fourth, or maybe even to your fifth year, you're getting more specific classes dedicated to your major, smaller classrooms. And that experience in itself was amazing because the professors so dedicated, so hands-on, so supportive. I always compare it to like a boss, right? You can have a really, really tough job, but an incredible boss that makes all the work you're putting into it so worthwhile. That's how I felt going to school all the time. There were definitely some challenging days. Don't get me wrong. There were some long nights when it came to studying, but looking back at it, I can't help but smile and can't be grateful of all the experiences that I've had there, just because it's paved it's paved an incredible path for me forward in my career. Just being surrounded by such diverse people, being surrounded by brilliant minds, being taught by some of the best professors, in my opinion. And I'm really grateful that I was able to have that experience. Earlier, you talked about those soft skills, right? What I think is incredible, and I say this all the time because I too go back to Rutgers to recruit for open positions and feeder pools into Johnson & Johnson for internships or leadership development program. I think the biggest challenge that many people come into the workforce with is, hey, I did so well in school. I was book smart. And people from some of the best top tier business schools in the country, they come with the specialized knowledge and they are really good at finance, really good at accounting, really good at marketing, the principles of each. But that's only going to get you so far in your career. It's the balance and the combination of the leadership, the soft skills, the influencing. And what I loved about Rutgers is that was what was built already into the curriculum. And if it wasn't in the curriculum, they had programs and they had other opportunities that you can be part of that help develop those soft skills. So when you're entering the work world, you're able to be an immediate asset to whatever company you're joining. And I'm just so privileged to see the network of alumni and all of my friends be so successful in their careers because they too were able to apply it in whatever path that they chose to take as well.
Right. That's really fantastic. The other thing, just to disabuse anyone who's thinking, okay, if I decide early on that my major is going to be business and I decide I'm going to go to a business school, that doesn't mean that you still don't have the advantage of the broader university, the liberal arts classes, the other things that you can take. So George, I'm sure you took plenty of finance classes, plenty of business classes, but I'm also sure that you took advantage of the vast offerings of the university as well, yes?
Of course. I think, again, this is maybe another big sell for Rutgers, but I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about the breadth of what Rutgers University offers. So it has an incredible and reputable business school, but it also has a culture unlike any other, I believe, because it offers so much. You have so many organizations on campus, so many different on-campus jobs, and the community of New Brunswick that you can access. That I went to Rutgers, New Brunswick. There's obviously other campuses as well, but you really are surrounded and with so many opportunities. On campus, I was involved in student life. I was involved as a resident assistant. I really was very proud of the culture of Rutgers University, and I just felt that it comes back to kind of like deciding on values and morals, and I felt like the school really represented what I believed in, and every opportunity that I was able to take at Rutgers really supported my values and supported my development. So again, for any student kind of looking and trying to decide on what colleges or university is best for them, definitely consider and look inside as well to see what they want personally. And I recommend they do that as well, just because if I didn't do that and I didn't see how Rutgers was that perfect for me, I can see where a lot of people may struggle in the first few years of college transitioning and figuring out what that space is for them.
Now, George, did you have a favorite class outside of the business school?
I did.
Which
was it? It was actually minored, and just because how I was perceived it in history of why there's all these HR policies is because there's so many actions and events in history that have led for policies to be in place for us to kind of create some equitable working arrangements and work environments. So understanding that it was a big benefit for me, I believe, just because even now as a manager, kind of having that background, I kind of bring some of those kind of classes and stuff with me now to apply. Okay, why is this HR policy in place? Why do we apply this in our everyday world? So that minor itself, I think it's very, I was very lucky to kind of take courses in that. One of them is actually a fun one. It's OSHA. So OSHA is something that that you walk into a building, you see regulations, but I was actually there. I was 30 hours. So I got a little card, and I could, I think, assess or measure the safetiness of certain work environments and health arrangements. And it's something so small, but it goes a long way. I even put it on my resume at one point.
That's funny. And I should tell everyone, OSHA is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration in Washington, with lots of regulations for businesses. So, George, did you have a favorite business course, and which one was it?
Managerial accounting, no question.
Whoa.
Why? Because it was one of my toughest classes.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I remember it goes back to the Boston area. I remember so different. I forced you into different cost accounting methods, very different for a non-accounting major, very specific accounting techniques and studies and minds. It's not just the debits and credits of financial accounting. But who knew it was challenging and who knew that it was a different type of learning, really, I think, made it so worthwhile for me going into the office hours, asking the incremental questions, getting the extra problems, really set up professor, number one. And I'm very grateful for the learnings that I took, because my first couple of weeks in my co-op, when I started at Johnson & Johnson, I was directly able to apply the learnings from that class directly onto my job. So it continued to pay itself forward.
Yeah, and that's worth getting into as well. You spent 8 months in a co-op program at J&J while you were a student at Rutgers. Was that connected to the program and the school?
Yes, it was what Rutgers University, the business school, offers. You're able to do, and it was at the time, a co-op And if you do the co-op, you're able to get credits for the co-op. You're required to just take, it fills a certain number of credits on your curriculum to maintain a full-time student. Then you just have to take 2 or more other classes on top of it to maintain the minimum course load to be a full-time student at Rutgers. So I was able to do that while student on campus. And that's actually how I ended up getting my full-time position at Johnson & Johnson. So again, a privilege in itself, the fact that I was able to take time and reduce my course load to have on-the-job experience, but also a privilege to be part of a university that allowed co-op programs to even be possible, and you to get credit for that as well.
Yeah, that's really good. Beyond the basic fundamental business skills that you learned in the program, how else did it shape you and change you to make you more effective in the world of work?
I think the structure of Rutgers University, as well as the business schools, its global approach and global mindset. We have students in the business school from all over the world. Our courses and the curriculum that we took at Rutgers is very globally minded. And I think, and even when I recruit on campus and I'm in the middle of interviews, hearing someone have that global mindset and that enterprise point of view and being able to see things big picture, that really differentiates a candidate from another one. You of course have to know the details. You have to be able to zoom in, but you also have to really be able to zoom out and apply what you know at that very micro level, at that environmental big picture framing. And I just think the structure of Rutgers University in itself automatically creates that environment, and the business school in itself does that as well, with the diverse students, the type of curriculum, the kind of studying we're doing, the kind of courses and exams that we're taking. So being able to kind of develop that in college and not necessarily have to learn those skill sets on the job, I believe really helped me be very, helped me become a stronger asset very fast in my career, just because I didn't need to have to focus small, learn and develop big as you grow in your career. I was able to understand the bigger picture as well as the benefit of the smaller picture earlier on, just through my coursework and just through the structure of how Rutgers University is created. So I think that in itself was a huge benefit for me.
And George, were you able to make a real connection with some faculty members?
I was. And to this day, I think of how we recruit, particularly in this environment, this virtual environment. We obviously have the career fairs, we have on-campus events, but without having on-campus events, we really need to connect with some of the faculty members all over again to see, okay, hey, do you have any strong students and strong candidates that you would recommend for positions? So having that connection with the faculty members also helps build that network, and you maintain that connection to the university, but helps with the career pipeline as well.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, when you go back now and you actually recruit students, do you see in them yourself when you were younger?
Good question. I see the drive. J&J Finance. So I lead the Rutgers finance recruiting for Rutgers New Brunswick for Johnson & Johnson. And we just had an information session for some groups of students. And just seeing some of their resumes and seeing their backgrounds, I if anything, am so much more impressed by them than what I was impressed with myself. I'm like, what? I'm just privileged I was able to get a job. They're able to accomplish so much in their first 2-3 years of being at Rutgers University. And it's so impressive. So I would love to say that I see myself, I see the drive. I definitely see their successes even continuing to grow and even continue to top what I was able to accomplish. And I'm just so excited about it. It just shows that the promise and reputation of Rutgers University is continuing to grow. And the business school is really attracting top talent, and it's only going to funnel that further well into their careers.
That's really true. So what's your biggest advice to a future applicant who knows they want to major in business, may not know exactly what field in business, whether it's accounting, finance, strategy, marketing, what have you, supply chain. What kind of advice would you give them?
I think it's an advice that you hear growing up, but it's also advice that I think applies even more specifically to someone's career path. It's never compare yourself to anyone and never compare your career path to anyone. I think what business schools do is, you can Google it, you can research it. They kind of sometimes, I should say, I don't want to say always, they sometimes say this is the right career path and this is the career path you should take, or you should be doing this type of accounting and this type of company, or this type of finance and this type of company. My advice is follow your heart, you own your career, and make sure you never compare yourself to another person's career path, because their career path is going to lead them on their own way, and yours is going to lead yours on your own. So figure out what you want, explore. Don't be afraid to explore. Don't be afraid to admit that you don't know exactly what you want at this point, because there's a lot of time to figure that out. But build the foundational roadblocks. Take an internship in an area you're unsure of, but you want to explore. Shadow someone in a different field that you may think is not necessarily the most traditional route of finance, marketing, accounting, etc. And really create your own path. You don't have to follow someone else's. You shouldn't follow someone else's, and you absolutely should not compare. So measure your success in the way that you define success. And I think for all students I'm speaking to right now, is you're going to find yourself much happier and much more validated in your career choices once you're making it for yourself and for your own personal values, as opposed to, oh, this is because someone else told me to do it, or this is because I want to be just on that track like someone else. It really makes a huge difference.
That's really great advice. Hey, what a pleasure to meet you. And you've built yourself a really nice career at J&J over your 6+ years there already.
Thank you so much.
You've moved through a lot of different positions. How many people do you manage now?
I currently manage 2 people.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I'm very privileged to be on this great team. I went through the Finance Leadership Development Program. It's a rotational program. I got to see different parts of the business, got to see different types of finance. And I'm actually currently in a finance manager role, responsible for the development and the end-to-end execution of the curriculum for the leadership development programs. So it kind of goes full circle, right?
Yeah. So in a way, you're the dean, so to speak, of the curriculum at J&J for finance recruits who are being shaped and molded for careers at Johnson & Johnson.
You know what? I'm gonna change my signature in my email to George Richa, Dean of J&J FLDP. Yeah, perfect. Absolutely.
Well, a real pleasure, and good luck to you and the rest of your career. Really enjoyed you.
Thank you so much. It was nice speaking to you as well.
And this is John Byrne with Poets&Quants, backstage at our conference with our one-on-one interview with this brilliant J&J finance master.
The signatures keep getting longer and longer. Thank you so much, John.
You take care.